he's a night person, not do a lot of things during the day, but during night he's very active.
Right.
To like clean the floor sometimes with vacuum. It's very loud sound. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's that's the thing, you know. I keep telling the journalists and reporters that that is what we heard from the upstairs.
Yeah. But it was just he was a night person vacuuming or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, even sometimes like in the bathroom wash and very late. It's not that not like what the regular time.
Yeah.
Very late night he would do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we got stuff, yeah, and many times.
Did you ever ask him to quiet down or anything? Or?
I actually wanted, but I didn't try.
Yeah.
And once when I met him, we just say hello. I just want to say, could you please keep it quiet because we work out during night and have kids and it. But I didn't do that. I think maybe because he just moved in at August, maybe he need time to get used to.
Sure.
Things bad. She called me and asked me about the murders. I didn't know where she was going with it until she said that it was Brian Koberger, and naturally I freaked out and called about 8 of my friends. My brother was really good friends with him. My other friend Brandon was really good friends with him. I'm gonna have a picture of him with him on the green screen as well. I'm shaking still, but anyway, let me show you. This is Brandon, the one I was just talking about. That's his wife Brianna, and that's me. This was back in 2017. Obviously that's Brian. Still has the dead face that it's the eyes. I don't know. But when I spoke to him back in 2017, he was clean. He was a heavy heroin user back in high school, and it was just nice to see the kid clean up. And at that time, he said he was doing security detail. I believe it was out of school is what he told me. But he seemed like he was better. Obviously, that wasn't true. Here's another picture from a party that we had at Brandon's house. That's Brian there. He used to be a bigger kid as well. But again, that's him. And then at the same wedding, I'm here, but he's back there. He was sitting at the same table as me and my mother. But he is back there enjoying a drink. I was sitting right next to him. We talked. He seemed fine. My mom sent me the old school yearbook. That was him. Brian Koberger, that's him. He went to Pleasant Valley. Graduated with, I think, my friend Christopher, a year younger than me. This is when he nonchalantly decided to make me drive him around the Poconos for heroin, and I had no idea. I thought I was just doing a nice deed because he needed something, and it turned things bad. She called me and asked me about the murders. I didn't know where she was going with it until she said that it was Brian Koberger, and naturally I freaked out and
Koberger was learning remotely. The Masters of Criminal Justice online graduate program is virtual. On-campus labs or environments are not part of the coursework. The crime scene house isn't a part of the Masters of Criminal Justice program. What about him surveying criminals on Reddit with prompts like, why did you choose that victim before making your move? How did you approach the victim? The school says this kind of behavioral study was standard, and Koberger wasn't working alone. All students enrolled in the Masters of Criminal Justice program are required to complete a capstone research project that is supervised by faculty. And 2 of Koberger's professors are listed as co-researchers on the survey. There's no argument that Koberger was a standout at DeSales. A professor who recommended him for the doctorate program at Washington State University described Koberger as brilliant and one of my best students ever. But O'Toole says studying criminology doesn't mean you'll be a better criminal than, say, someone who reads up on a murder case in the papers or listens to true crime podcasts.
The learning process is not unusual. It really depends on where people are looking for their information. Now, whether it's classroom training or following someone else that's committing the kinds of crimes that you do, does it make you 100% better at what you do? Does it make you 100% more successful? Can you still make mistakes? You can absolutely still make mistakes because there's a lot of emotion that goes into committing a crime. And when you lose control in a crime scene, then you're more likely to make mistakes and leave evidence. And they don't write about that in a textbook.
Coming next month inside.
Who survived were also likely asleep, but that they were in the basement. And when they woke up, they thought a roommate had passed out, initially calling friends over, who discovered a much more sinister scene. This morning, police in Moscow, Idaho, revealing for the first time that before a 911 call was made, the two surviving roommates of a deadly rampage that killed 4 students summoned friends to the off-campus home, telling authorities they thought someone on the second floor had, quote, passed out and was not waking up.
What I do know is that they woke up later in the morning. They recognized that something was amiss as far as they believed that the roommate wouldn't wake up. They called some friends. The friends came over. They called 911, and that's when the officers arrived.
Police say multiple people spoke with the 911 dispatcher before an officer arrived.
You have victims with multiple stab wounds. How does that translate to my roommate's passed out and won't wake up?
So I haven't seen the scene, and I'm not exactly sure what they saw in the morning. But what we believe we know is that when they woke up, they believed that the roommate was still passed out, wasn't responding, and they called some friends.
Responding to what?
I'm not sure.
Detectives do not believe anyone at the scene was involved in the crime. This TikTok